signature spells. Look at me,
Yeah.
I'm flying, mom. But let's enter the drafting phase of the semifinals, best of 3. Once again, it's going to be Vietnam on the blue side, taking out the Fanny and the Wanwan. On the side of Indonesia in the red, they will take away that joy.
Echo, by the way, it's interesting how they will prioritize the Yuzhong for this girl. It's actually very effective in the previous game that we saw.
Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the bans, typically if you're the red side, you're the designated 1-1 ban, or one team 1-1 banner, if that word exists. But you know, since it is the 1-1 which was first banned out by Vietnam, they might consider something like a... Oh, they banned out the Melissa! I thought for sure that Indonesia will be interested into giving that up so that they can easily counter Vietnam, but I guess this is research and preparation from Indonesia's side.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Indonesia, big as the women's league or women's division is in their region, they'd have a very professional coaching staff. This is like target ban after target. Well, maybe not the Joy. Maybe not the Joy. Like it's Joy is very much a standard ban right now in the current meta. But what will Indonesia ban for their last rotation?
Right here, guys. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Indonesia playing this draft very, very riskily. Basically giving a free hero to Vietnam with the Melissa ban. Would not be surprised with another marksman ban here if they really want to dig into that one.
I mean, what are the options left? The Fredrin is actually still open to take if Vietnam wants to get that first pick jungler. I would call, like, even if Fredrin has holes right now, still very much the most effective jungler out there. Does the job, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
My friend.
Yeah, high chance that Fredrin will be the priority for Indonesia. I think if you're Vietnam, don't give the Eve. Eve, just so good with Indonesia, one-size-fits-all kind of hero. You know that it will be a priority for Indonesia anyways. But instead,
choose my own
understandably, in a way.
Yes.
If you could play it well.
True.
I'm fine with this. Actually.
So it's like a big challenge. This is actually a lot of confidence coming in from Vietnam.
100%. So now, if you're Indonesia, you might think of something like Valentina or Eve, as we know the Eve is really good. And then of course the Fredrin, we know that they can easily use in the jungle role. We don't know if they flex it. I actually don't know if they do flex it, but it's a decent hero.
Exorcist of the
So they go
dragon.
use
Dragon.
Wow. I don't know. I just felt it. Echo seems
Yeah.
to be so... She seems to be so ready to fight. And if that's going to be these are the picks, that means that playstyle of Indonesia is definitely going to be very high octane. These are the picks that they use when they want to end games in around 13, 14 minutes.
Yeah, and this Yu Zhong is, I feel like it's a telltale sign where a lot of their compositions really rely on having the capabilities of a Yu Zhong. Again, this is a best-of-3 series, so if Indonesia secures this Game 1 victory against Vietnam, if they realize that this Yu Zhong is starting to be a problem, this will be a ban in Game number 2.
Oh, there's the Beatrix. Still no Eve. Okay, they go for the comfort pick, the Minotaur.
Left undone.
Girl, yeah.
But not mine, though, like, just girls.
Yeah,
It's an
you know.
expression, guys.
It's an
Don't worry.
expression. It's an expression.
Okay. Let's
Gotcha,
be clear.
man.
Okay, there is that option of the Martis for Indonesia, so they will not have any problems with the Minotaur. But also, you have the Lancelot that we know that they can use. And of course, the Fredrin. 3 heroes that are okay against the comp of Vietnam overall. Especially because they already have the Yu Zhong, so they're not that scared about the Beatrix.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they should be prioritizing either Fredrin or Lance as their picks, or maybe the Martis, right? So 3 important junglers here for Indonesia.
It's so interesting because the way Wolf puts it, it's like Indonesia just pick whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many options,
But
and they go for the Akai.
You know, at this point, you
Yeah.
kind of want to just shove away the Arlet.
Yeah.
Like, whenever the Arlet just goes ham, starts dashing around, you
Yeah.
spin in the center of everyone,
Yep.
and he can no longer vengeance his way out of it.
Yeah. Also, by the way, there's a what's that? Mini Purify with the ultimate of the Akai. It rhymes. When you use it, after the knockup from the Minotaur, you destroy the formation of the team that is rocking the Minotaur. So essentially what you achieve is that you kind of softly counter the Minotaur ultimate. because
Among the
of one.
planes exists
If that
the
is great.
equilibrium.
Wow.
And it's also so
I
fast,
was
right?
made
The
for.
heavy spin is basically an emergency button whenever you go
That's
for
correct.
it.
That's
power
correct.
of light
So
and
it's a really good
climate.
pick here for Indonesia for safety.
Yeah, and looking at the bans coming in from Indonesia, they themselves take away the Eve, mainly because I do think that this Valentine is already most likely going to be the mid lane, because no way will I think the Akai return into position 5 right now, especially in this phase of the tournament. It looks like Vietnam will be locking down the Kaja away from Indonesia. Wouldn't be surprised if they focus more on the roam role, mainly because they have already locked in this Minotaur.
Yeah, and definitely going to be the gold lane here. I think Indonesia needs to think about that gold lane. I'm not sure if Vietnam's going to try to ban out any other gold laners like the Moskov or the Brody. Definitely, if you do that though, there's going to be
The southern
a
seas
smaller
are
pool
my
available
domain.
here for Indo.
This. Oh, interestingly, the targeted bans are
Mid, yeah.
for Indonesia really making sure that everything is diligently taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking maybe you last pick your roamer for Indonesia to kind of keep the integrity of the Akai's flexibility, and also you already know what you're facing up against. So it's gonna be the Beatrix,
Sniper ready.
the typical
Enemy
heroes
target.
Your team
that
is
you put up
picking.
in the marksman role for or the golden role for Indonesia at this point. First Beatrix should be something like maybe a Moskov in fact.
Yeah, Moscov's the best pick here.
Yeah.
I think we also saw Chell play the Moskov earlier. I think in their
Did
first
she?
game against Cambodia.
That's true.
And
Oh no, it was the opposite end. It was Cambodia who picked it up.
Oh, it's Cambodia who picked it up.
I
so-
think it was Tifmar.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Carry.
It
Yes,
was Carry.
Carry's still open
Oh,
though
Carry's still open.
for the side of Indonesia. But I feel like this is more like a forced
The
pick.
arts
It looks
of
like they're gonna go for
miracle.
Brody instead. They know for a fact that this Carry would be easily reachable by not only the Minotaur, especially the Arla.
There it is, the Martis.
3,000 worlds.
Really a good pick here, but
And not a single
I guess you're left with
worthy
Farsa.
foe.
but then again, that makes the Yuzhong even more of a value pick, right? So it might be better to go for something along the lines of Lunox or Lilia if you're
Yes.
Vietnam.
Farsa actually increases the value of the Yuzhong and the Valentina,
That's
giving
true,
them more
that's
of
true.
artillery. So that's
Yeah.
actually discouraged here for Indonesia.
Yeah, and giving off the black shoes or any of the brilliance or the darkening abilities wouldn't really affect.
How about
the value.
Kagura?
Kagura could be an
Oh,
option,
Lunox,
but it looks
there
like
is
they're
a
gonna go for the Lunox instead. I feel like this is a very traditional
Yeah,
route,
I agree.
but I do
Always on the
think
way.
that having that Lunox in the mid lane means the Beatrix and the Lunox would have like different power spike timers, so they gotta manage that well.
Look at this. This lineup from Indonesia is definitely making it so difficult to play the Beatrix. The only saving grace maybe is that there is a way to kind of sustain the Beatrix with a Minotaur if she plays defensively instead of like offensively as the Minotaur. Maybe they can protect the Beatrix. But imagine this: Matilda Circling Eagle, Yuzhong Dragon Form, Akai Ultimate, and of course the Brody Torn Apart Memory. These skills are just so good at dealing with the Beatrix.
Yeah, and also the single targetable stun coming in from the Brody definitely would set up a lot of good ganks in the gold lane, but these are all just theories. We're about to see whether or not Indonesia could secure this against Vietnam, or will Vietnam show us that they could just defeat the titans of female esports here in Mlbb. Let's enter game 1. We're already seeing some action here inside the jungle.
Yeah, definitely a lot of eyes here in the mid lane. We're thinking how Chin can actually dominate. Remember that? The eye-catching roam of Vietnam that might just wreak havoc here in Indonesia. I mean, but there's a big question mark. There's a big if there, right? If Daisy can get to a point where she hurts and hits. That's actually the difficult thing when playing a Lunox personally right now. With all the adjustments made through this hero throughout the year, it's just a lot more difficult to get to optimal point when you convert some of them.
Definitely takes a lot more gold now. That's why I think Daisy is running the mystery shop
Yeah.
just to get those items really quickly. And going back at the playstyle of Indonesia, we are expecting a lot of early game centric rotations, and they have the Matilda to aid that.
Yeah. There's some benefit in picking up the Lunox, right? You don't give a massive ultimate to the Valentina. You also deal with both the Matilda and the Akai. So maybe there's that. But overall, we know that the biggest con of having the Lunox is that it is so farm dependent.
Oh! Yep, and looks like what they don't need right now is that goal to take out Mlbb. That's a first one going over Indonesia.
The Petrify coming in from Mlbb was expended to try and get a kill against Indonesia, but because of that, they lacked gap closers or maybe escape tools from the Petrify combo coming in from the Yu Zhong. And if we're talking about better Petrify combos, you gotta give it to the Yu Zhong pre-level 4.
100%. I think there's really not much that you get out of this build coming out from Mlbb, especially because she went for the killing spree, which we know that it's not the most ideal for the for the Arlet, unless of course she gets multiple kills. Like she gets fed up and gets so much damage, but overall it's gonna be a scary call for Vietnam not having a good XP lane team fighting tool.
Yeah, right now they're going to be whittled down as well with the damage. It's not even straight up DPS yet. These are just poke damage coming in from Indonesia, and they're already suffering in the hands of the Matilda and the Valentina.
Slight gold lead already building up for Indonesia here. They're trying to clear it out, but looks like Nico will be in trouble. Look at all the stunts and the gap closers in the world. Just securing another kill for Indonesia. They might even get another one. Nia walks away.
You see that combo? Guiding Wind into the stun from the Brody. Then eventually the final slash, which was put in a very nice way. Like you slam your opponent to the wall. And now you have immense amount of damage with Valentina, Matilda, and the Brody early game. Even when they're almost single target damage, they still hit like a truck.
And that's the main thing, right? That we talked about before the game started. If you can do that with a free-man squad from Indonesia, imagine what they can do with 5, which we haven't even seen yet. And with the confidence that Indonesia has right now, that doesn't seem far off. This Brody will scale so quickly.
40 seconds until the next turtle of the game will spawn. Or actually, this is just the first turtle of the game. Wait a minute.
Second.
Who got the first turtle?
Indonesia.
The first turtle was secured here by Indonesia, and I won't be surprised if Indonesia secured a second turtle as well, considering that they almost have a 3K gold lead. And Chinny has a massive ultimate, the only massive ultimate that he could get.
Yeah. And no need to even like.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh, they missed.
It's a 4-man dive now. Miku, what you gonna do? What are you going to do?
Oh my god. Terrify from the left side so that they kind of shove Miku to the right side where the stun from Chell is actually waiting. That was so well done by Indonesia.
And you didn't even have to use the final slash. So Indonesia right now in full control of not only the objective, but here comes the Minotaur. This is they engage, but Vivian must be
yeah, Vivian definitely getting in trouble here with a final slash. Gonna be missing out here. Beautiful delay there from Chinny will not be enough. Chinny will go down. And Daisy as well. Vietnam here's the punch back in, coming in from Indonesia. Whoa, and it hits like a truck for sure.
3-for-1 exchange, and Indonesia still in the lead. A 4.6k gold lead, but they do have the wave clear. Vietnam could be able to defend this, but I feel like this is going to be a stolen for the side of Indo.
No red green, no problem, because there's no contest whatsoever from Vietnam. My oh my. Good initiation already from Vietnam, but the Mino and Fury was actually dodged by a flicker from Chinny. Eventually died, but the rest of Indonesia were prepared for it. Of course, we can see through the replay once again. Watch out for the dodge from Chinny. Then, of course, the final slash, which was exchanged with both teams, easily countered by the lockdown that you can get from the heavy spin as well as the Yu Zhong ultimate. Great sniper coming out from Miku, but it wasn't enough to score a kill, which allowed Indonesia to just sustain through get 7-1 when it comes to kills and 5.3 thousand gold to boot.
And, you know, Indonesia definitely has their power spike right now. I did see Chell pick up that Blade of Despair a few seconds ago, maybe around the 5-minute 30 mark. So this Brody would definitely just drop the HP bars of Vietnam left and right. And for Vietnam, I wonder what the win condition is left. Like, you still have that Blue Nox for a possible late-game burst, but it's going to take quite a while, and another kill goes to the hands of Indonesia.
If you're Mlbb, you really want to rethink the way that you approach it as the Arlott. The Arlott's a very strong hero, but Killing Spree and Petrify, it's such an old school, although Arlott's fairly new, but the thing is, it's one of the first few attempts on what you can have as your balance, the end emblem set for Arlott, and it's easily like snubbed because it doesn't really achieve that much for the hero.
You do get like a few resets on your passive with the Petrify, but that's frankly it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, overall, it's so scary because Indonesia's not even using ultimates to get these kills, man. And look at that flicker in by Chuma. Chell all alone, but doesn't even need help at this point. Got Vival from the backside, just making sure the teammates are good. There's a flicker in for Chinny. I'm not sure why that happened, but it's not going to be in position for the final slash. Here comes Fumieko on the back foot with that dragon, and it is enough to peel off the Vietnam squad.
2 people down for the side of Vietnam, and that was a great attempt coming in from Chuma.
Yeah.
But Fumieko and I think Chell did have great positioning with his team there, and his team essentially blocked the damage dealers coming in from Vietnam. So it wasn't really it was a good attempt, but I feel like the counter goal was way better than that.
Absolutely.
Like NT,
Nice
over
try.
and over again.
Nice try, definitely, from Vietnam. The idea was there. Unfortunately, Indonesia was far too prepared for that. Because if you think about it, it's kind of one-dimensional for Vietnam to look at what their composition wants. You want to initiate with the Minotaur. You don't have a flicker for the Arlott, so the Arlott will not be the one to first go in, or she will not be able to get the fire shot off in a good angle. She has to wait for the rest of Indonesia to group up before she is able to have an impact. So you can read through what Vietnam wants to do.
It's so funny because Indonesia has the better final slash.
Yes,
If you think about it.
because of the flicker. Just simply as that. I mean, Chini will have an easier way. I would say, okay, so I will not go as far as to say that it's better. It's just that it's easier.
Easier to activate.
Yeah.
There you go.
Plus, you have like the 2 dashes that comes with the
That's right.
Valentina.
That's right.
The Valentina kit. So Indonesia right now with a 9K gold lead, a massive gold lead to have if you're Vietnam. But looks like they're gonna go for the first Lord of the game first. It is just 9 minutes in, and if you take that into account, this is such a dominating game coming in from Indonesia.
All right, so far I feel like it's just too easy for Indonesia to read the doors, right? Because they just need to look at where the Minotaur is, and that's it.
Yep.
I see what you mean, Wolf. It's just, how do you actually initiate here without Indonesia being ready?
I mean, at this point, the Arlott is almost always telegraphed. Like, you know for a fact if he's going to go for the final slash, because he's probably going to walk up to you, has no choice.
The real strength of at least for me, the real strength of the Arlott is the surprise factor of how fast the animation is with the Fire Slash. And if you combo that up with the Flicker, it makes it almost an OP kind of initiation, right? Because it's so instant, you don't know where it's coming from. Petrify and Vengeance procs will not be enough to kind of mitigate that. So Mlbb, hopefully, she will be craftier in the next coming team fights. Otherwise, it will be Indonesia reading their movements once again.
With the Flicker, there's almost no reaction time.
Yeah, really not. No.
There's no
It's
way
so
you can
impossible.
You
It's
have to predict
impossible.
the future.
Yes.
You really can't read that, and I feel like a lot of good Arlott players are really good at setting up team fights. But looks like Vietnam, they're gonna look to defend this top lane. The Lord is pushing upstairs, but here comes in the mid lane, a big minion wave as well, and Juma will suffer quite a bit.
Fumieko actually just engaging straight up with the Dragon Form. And with the heavy spin, just pushing everyone back to the base. There's the final slash we've been looking for here. Follow up with Chuma. And Fumieko actually able to go down. Shinny actually is in trouble as well, but in the end, it's just an easy base to take for Indonesia as they can take game 4.
Oh, did you see that final slash from Chini? Literally the final slash of the game with a wonderful execution to isolate the members of Vietnam and put them out of the zone of the safety of their own base building, then ran away with 2 dashes. Literally what we're trying to say about how strong the Valentina was.
Yeah, first picking Arlet and leaving Valentina open was definitely a big error in the draft, or if not an error, a problem that they weren't prepared to deal with. And that's Indonesia taking game number 1 against Vietnam. If this is still a best-of-3 series, Indonesia could go for the sweep, but on the other hand...